I worked at the Apple Cup this weekend. That's Washington State University playing the University of Washington. I worked for Fox. It was awesome, had a blast. I love Fox, by the way. They're my favorite company to work for. They are fantastic. Love it. I had this director I've never had before. His name was Bill. We'll call him Bill. And he's the best guy I've ever worked for. Loved this guy. Here's the thing. This game, it snowed. It was snowy. After the game, it was wet. Everyone was pretty miserable. And we do a thing called strike, which is where you take down all the equipment from the entire stadium. You strike all the equipment. And we didn't get out of the field. We didn't get off the field till 12:30 in the morning. It was late. It was cold. My feet were wet. My gloves were soaked through. Snow everywhere. And yet, regardless, I was happy to be there. Sometimes you do the strike. You do the process of tearing down after a football game. It's grueling. It's annoying. Nobody wants to be there. But this time was different. I was working for Bill. And Bill is awesome. He's a great leader. I respect Bill. I trust Bill. I admire Bill. Leadership is extremely important. That's why I still had a positive attitude at 12:30 in the morning. Gloves are wet. I'm soaked through. Packing up a truck in the snow, I was happy to be there because I knew I believed in my boss. In fact, I loved it. I was working for the guy I believed in. So on Sunday, Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns beat the Cincinnati Bengals. They won 35-20. Baker was outstanding. He was 19 for 26 passing at 258 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And there was drama after the game. If you remember back to the beginning of the year, Hugh Jackson began the year as the Cleveland Browns head coach. Now, he was fired, and he decided to take a job with the Cincinnati Bengals. So after the game, there was an awkward handshake, Baker and Hugh Jackson. It looked like Baker did not want to really be near Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson wanted a hug. Baker Mayfield was uninterested. And in the post-game press conference, there were 2 quotes I want to focus your attention on. One I'm going to paraphrase, one I'm going to say directly. The first one I'll paraphrase. It's pretty long. Basically, Baker Mayfield said that it bothered him his former head coach, Hugh Jackson, left Cleveland and went to a division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to put that on hold. We'll come back to that thought in a minute. The second quote I want to quote directly. It's probably my favorite quote of the year. I love this very, very much. Baker Mayfield said, I quote, "We have people that we believe in now calling the plays." We have people that we believe in calling the plays now. Leadership. Leadership matters. Is that a shot at Hugh Jackson? Probably Todd Haley as well. Absolutely, that's a shot at his former head coach. Absolutely. He's talking about his former offensive coordinator. Does it bother me that he took a shot at his former head coach? Not at all. Normally it might. Certainly I wouldn't say anything like that. I don't like talking badly about my former bosses, my former coworkers. It's just not a good look, right? I don't know that I would have done what Baker Mayfield had done. Calling people out publicly, I don't love it. But Baker was being honest. And it's likely Baker speaks for the entire team. There was obvious dysfunction in Cleveland with Hugh Jackson at the reins. You got Freddie Kitchens calling plays now in Cleveland. Seems to work. I think it's for the best. Because if you don't believe in your boss or the leaders above you, it's going to be really, really hard to be successful, and it's going to be really, really hard to believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in your boss, you're not going to believe in what you're doing for your boss. I learned that a lesson on Saturday. I was striking the field in the snow at 12:30 in the morning, and I was happy to be there because I believed in Bill, this great guy, this great leader who clearly I believed in. I understood what he was doing. One aspect of what Baker Mayfield said does bother me, though. So on one hand, I like what Baker Mayfield said. Yes, you should believe in your leaders. On the other hand, my buddy Pablo, a listener in Mexico, sent me this morning. He sent me an Instagram post. It was Damian Woody on First Take saying that Baker Mayfield needs to grow up. Damian Woody pointed out that Baker Mayfield, well, he did go from Texas Tech and transferred to a division rival, Oklahoma. Hypocrisy. And then Baker Mayfield made a real mistake. Baker Mayfield replied to the Instagram post defending himself. He said, those two things are not comparable. You can't compare my actions leaving Texas Tech to Oklahoma to Hugh Jackson leaving the Browns going to the Bengals. He said, there was no scholarship for me at Texas Tech. Blah, 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 blah. 2 mistakes happened here. When someone tells you to grow up, you cannot have a defensive response. It's unwise. The only way you can respond to someone telling you need to grow up is with humility. If someone says, Zach, you need to grow up and mature, I can't try to be all defensive. I got to say, and just respond to some humility. Honestly, because the thing is, if you respond defensively, you make them look right. That moment with Baker Mayfield truly made me think of Ryan Leaf. It made me uncomfortable. I didn't like it. And even if Damien Woody's wrong, when someone tells you you need to grow up, you cannot. When someone says you need to grow up, you cannot respond defensively. You need to respond with humility. But furthermore, Baker Mayfield's flat out wrong. He is wrong about Hugh Jackson. He's wrong to be mad at Hugh Jackson for joining the Cincinnati Bengals. This is professional football. Sorry. I understand. If Baker doesn't like Hugh Jackson, fine. But you can't get mad at him for accepting a job. Sorry, that's how professional football works. Hired, you're fired. In, you're out. Especially when you take account for the fact that Hugh Jackson has a history in Cincinnati. He's buddies with the head coach Marvin Lewis. In fact, the reason why Hugh Jackson was hired in Cleveland is because of the success he had in Cincinnati. I don't know. But here's the real hypocrisy. This is why, and look, I love Baker Mayfield. I really do. I hope he succeeds. I've been a fan of his since I was in high school. I remember watching him at Texas Tech. I loved it. I really legitimately love Baker Mayfield. But here is the hypocrisy with Baker Mayfield's argument. Baker's argument was, well, I was at Texas Tech. They wouldn't give me a scholarship. They didn't want me. So I left to a rival Oklahoma. Hugh Jackson did the same thing. The Browns fired Hugh Jackson. The Browns said, we don't want you anymore. So Hugh Jackson took the next opportunity that came to him with the Cincinnati Bengals. That's how sports work. That's how life works. That's frankly how professional football works. Baker Mayfield was so wrong on that. The hypocrisy is hilarious. Someone didn't want you. You took the next opportunity. Texas Tech to Oklahoma. The Browns to Cincinnati. It's the same move. I still love Baker Mayfield, but he was wrong on that. I hope Baker Mayfield succeeds for the next 10 years. I love the guy. I hope he's in Cleveland forever. I really do love him. But Baker Mayfield was wrong about Hugh Jackson. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. And I just want to say thank you so very much for tuning in. It means the world to me. If you don't already, you can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And please help me grow by telling your friends about the show. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. I just want to say again, thank you so much. It means a lot. Hope you guys have a great day, and take care.